It's my first time on Verblin.
Well, I'm glad you could make it. I've been here for many months.
Oh, it's good to hear.
I'm glad. How long have you been learning English?
Oh, actually, I've been learning English for, I don't know, maybe 6 years, but I don't feel comfortable with it still.
Well, you picked a tough class. Grammar is always difficult, but I hope you enjoy. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask as we're going through class. So, what part of well, I'm assuming, are you from Russia?
Yeah, I'm from Russia, yeah.
What part?
I was born in Orenburg region. It's on the border with Kazakhstan.
Hmm.
It's another country. Actually, it's in the south of Russia, but usually when it's a study year, from September to June, I
Hmm.
live in Moscow because I go to university there.
Oh, very nice. What are you studying?
Uh, in as a whole, economics, but
Oh,
my major is risk management and insurance. This year I get my bachelor's degree, and
nice.
from September I'll start getting my master's.
Oh, well, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
I know a little about risk and insurance, and it's a very fascinating field, especially when it comes to assessing the risk.
Yeah, it's actually quite hard for me because there is a lot of mathematics and some possibility theories. So yeah.
Okay, great. Well, welcome to class. I also see that Dimitri has joined us. Hi, Dimitri.
Hi,
Hi. Dimitri, where are you from?
I'm from Ukraine.
Ukraine. What part of Ukraine?
Um, Kiev, it's the capital of Ukraine.
I'm familiar with it, yes. How long have you been learning English?
Uh, since my childhood, maybe from 8th class, but
Excellent.
still I'm not confident at it.
I've been learning it for 43 years and I still make mistakes.
Last joke.
Well, it's a joke, but it's the reality, even for a native English speaker. You're always learning. And for me, who's been away from school for many years, while I can speak effectively, I don't always remember the grammar rules. And sometimes I have to refresh myself as well. It becomes native after a while. The more you practice English, the better you'll become, the better you'll speak. And over time, the grammar rules won't matter as much. In fact, at my age, most people don't even remember grammar rules anymore. Right? It just starts to come naturally.
As for me, I sometimes pass some tests of English, and grammar is my powerful side.
Well,
I
that's
I think grammar is good. My grammar is good, but not spoken English.
Well, tell you what, why don't you teach this class, since your grammar might be better than mine, and I can help you with the spoken.
Thank you.
Okay, so, well, let's talk a little bit about today's topic, the present perfect. What is the present perfect?
It's a
It's when
tense.
Go on. Okay, tell you what, let's start with Dimitri. What is the present perfect?
it's the time when uh, it's just happened, and it happened in a period of time which is still it's now. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it has a lot to do with the now. I'm sorry. You know, every time I look at the Russian spelling of your name, I forget how to say it. So I'm going to have to write
Oh,
it down. Um, could you? So how would I pronounce your name again?
I'm
Julia.
Julia. You can call me Julia. If it's
Julia?
about me, I'm sorry.
Let me adjust my volume. Sorry. Say again. I heard Julia, but that doesn't sound right.
Julia. You can call me Julia.
Jula.
Uh, yeah, like Julia Roberts. There is
Oh,
an actor,
Julie.
Julia Roberts, and you
Yeah,
can call
Julie.
me Julia. Yeah.
All right, Julie. Anything else you can tell us about the present perfect?
Uh, as I've been taught, the present perfect is about some result that we have now, but we did something to get this result in the past, maybe in the recent past.
Yeah,
For
and that's very good. The focus is on the result, right? The emphasis is on the result.
yeah,
Now, what I'm going to do, because grammar is not the easiest thing to just listen to, um, if you guys notice that on the left side of your screen there's a bunch of pictures, there should be one that looks like a triangle that's made up of yellow, blue, and green. If you don't see that one, there's three little dots at the bottom. Click on that and you should see that triangle. The triangle represents Google Drive. And when you click on Google Drive, there's a little blue page. It's a very tiny little square that says Hangout Notes. And if you click on Hangout Notes, you'll be able to see what I'm going to write. So if everyone can get into Google Drive. Who do I see in here? Okay, Raphael, you're in Google Drive. And I'm going to read you something. This is exactly what I pasted into the classroom notes. Good, Dimitri, I see you're in there. The present perfect is a grammatical combination. Okay? We're dealing with the present tense and the perfect aspect. Okay? This is used to express a past event that has present consequences. Okay? The term is used particularly in context of English grammar where it refers to the forms of, or forms such as I have left or Sue has died. Right? These are forms of, wow, you can tell I haven't had dinner, I can't speak properly. These forms are present because they use the present tense of the auxiliary verb have, and perfect because they use that auxiliary in combination with the past participle of the main verb. What is the past participle, guys?
A third form of verb.
Yeah, we're talking about the past. Now, the present perfect is really putting the emphasis on the result. I do want to say welcome to Raphael, who's just joined us, as well as Joseph. And now I'm not sure if this is an Italian name.
Yes, it
Giacomo?
is.
Okay.
Giacomo.
Giacomo, welcome to class.
Thank you.
All right. Now, I don't crack as many jokes in this class because it takes a bit of concentration. Now, in terms of talking about forms of the present perfect, let's take a look at a very simple sentence. Oops. Bear with me because I'm using multiple screens and sometimes it takes a while to copy. Okay. Have spoken. But there's something missing here. What is missing? If I say have spoken, what is missing?
The subjective.
Yeah, the subject. And the subject is represented by which?
Noun.
Well, I'm looking for examples, like which words are we missing?
I have spoken.
I. What else?
You, he, she, it. We, you, they.
Oh, not exactly. You're good. You're close, right? I've lost my screen again. I, you, we, and they, right? We can all agree.
Yeah.
Okay, and here they
Oh
are.
yeah, the third person.
Aha.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so he or she, for example, we still have spoken, but what are we missing here in the middle?
Has.
Yes.
Has.
Has, yeah. Okay. It's a very simple example. Now, again, I'm just focusing on the very basics right now because I'm going to add more and it's going to get a little complicated. So I want to start off simple. Now, we're going to go and talk about the negative. So, Giacomo, let's just say, let's look at a simple sentence. You have spoken. Now, are you in Google Drive right now, Giacomo?
No. Is there a link I should see? Because
No, there's no link. Look, let me help you. And for those of you that aren't in Google Drive, please listen. On the left side of the screen, move your mouse to the left side of the screen, and you should see a bunch of pictures or icons. We're looking for the one that represents Google Drive. Now, I'm going to share out my screen. I don't like to do this because there's certain things that they don't want me to show you guys, but I'm going to take a risk because it's easier to show you what I want you to do than to explain. So if you look over here, I have these icons. Okay? This is the one I want you guys to select. Okay? Once you select that, you should click on this one here that says Hangout Notes. Okay? Giacomo, can you see that?
Yes, in my case, the problem is that I am connected from my tablet, and I don't see that menu on the left side.
You won't.
So
It's not an option for you.
no.
So it's nothing we do. It's just a limitation of using a tablet.
Yes, I understand. So.
Okay, so listen carefully. It's a good thing we're using smaller sentences then, because this is not very hard. You have spoken. How do we turn that into the negative?
You haven't spoken.
Okay, without the contraction.
You have not spoken.
Yeah, you have not spoken. And yes, for those of you watching me type, that is spelled wrong. Now, Joseph, how do we turn that into a question? So we're talking about the form of the present perfect. How do we turn it into a question?
Have you spoken?
Yeah, have. We reverse the position of the subject, the verb here. Have you spoken? So whether we use he, she, he, she, I, you, we, they, the difference will be obviously whether we use have or has. But the construction is the same. Now, there are some exceptions in spelling. So if we look at the verb love, how do we put this into the past? Or what is the past participle of love?
Love.
Loved. Right? So we just add the D. All right? For the word admit or travel.
Travel.
2 L's. Okay? So we add LED. Admit becomes admitted. as I'm sure you guys know by now, there are plenty of exceptions in the English language. I'm not going to belabor that point right now. And I'll give you some other material at the end of class. So what are uses of the present perfect? Well, as I mentioned earlier, you put an emphasis on the result. So here's an example of putting an emphasis on the result. Right? Raphael has reports. Okay, there's an example of the emphasis. Raphael has written 5 reports. Okay. Now, if we wanted to take the action of something that is still going on, an example might be this. Right? School has not started yet. We can also talk about an action that has stopped recently. But before I do that, let me make sure I'm clear here. So I'm writing the sentences down, but that should be black. So here we go. Example 2 is an action that is still ongoing. Number 1, emphasis on the result. And number 3, oops. An action that has stopped recently. Okay, so considering the time of day, it's 5 o'clock. I could say my wife has what? Cooked dinner. Okay, so that's an action that has stopped recently. Now we're going to talk about an action that has an influence on the present.
And Simon, when you wanna use still, what does it mean?
Sorry?
Still. Example, I wanna use still in a present perfect.
I'm having trouble hearing you. There's a bit of an echo. Could you type your question, please?
I wanna use still in a present perfect.
Steal?
Yeah.
Stolen?
No, still.
As in the metal.
This.
Oh, still. Sorry, I heard steal. Still. All right, so give me an example of the context.
Well, I haven't still done my work.
Okay.
My homework.
I still haven't done my homework.
Okay.
Now, you could just say, I haven't done my homework. Still, the only thing that still is doing is putting emphasis on the fact that you haven't done it. So an example, a better example of that would be, I haven't paid my rent yet. Oh, I still haven't paid my rent. It's like you remember to and you realize you still haven't done something. Okay.
It's not like yet. It's very different.
All right, so you finished an action that has an influence on the present. Okay. An example of that would be, I have lost my keys. How many of us have ever said this? I know I have. I've lost my keys. Right? I have, or I've lost my keys. That's never fun. That's horrible, especially if your keys cost $300, which most seem to these days. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit about the negative. So an action that has taken place once, never, or several times before the moment of speaking. So what might an example look like? Well, I have never been. Now I know Julie can never say that.
Oh, yeah, unfortunately.
You live there. Right? So to summarize, we have several different examples, or different uses. So obviously, one, we put the emphasis on the result, or an action that is still going on, an action that has stopped recently. You finish an action that has an influence on the present, okay? Or an action that has taken place once, or maybe never, or several times. Now, there are some words that signal the present perfect. And one of you guys already hinted at that. And these include already, ever, never, not yet, so far, till now, still, up to now. Right? And the last one was I have never, right? So we use never.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
When you have those or some of those signal words, is it mandatory to use the present perfect, or maybe sometimes you can also use the past tense? I mean, with ever or never.
Well, give me an example. What do you think is an
Example,
example of that?
could I say I did never go to Brazil, or should I say I have never gone to Brazil?
I never went to Brazil.
Never went.
I have never been to Brazil. I am unlikely to go to Brazil. I still haven't gone to Brazil. There's so many different ways of saying things, using different types of tenses, using different combinations of words.
I mean, because sometimes it's difficult to understand the difference between the past perfect, the present perfect, and the past simple.
Yeah, the differences can be very subtle and they can be confusing. Now, if you're studying for your TOEFL, then it's very important to get that down. If you're studying to be fluent, the one thing I would always focus on is clarity. Okay? When we use a lot of these qualifiers or modals, it sometimes adds what we might, in the legal terms, refer to as wiggle room. It's unclear sometimes what we're saying. I still haven't paid my rent. Okay, so you haven't paid your rent. That's pretty clear. Now, when we start to use modals of probability, well, that clouds things a little bit. If my boss pays me on time, I will pay my rent this Friday. Okay, it's less clear of what's going to happen. We can take the present perfect, the simple present, and we can wrap them around more words, and then we can start to create confusion in the meaning, which is why I'm starting off with very simple words. Until you're confident with one type of grammar, focus on simple sentences. Just accept the simple sentences before you go into more complex ones. Myself, I get very confused if I try to create complex sentences when I'm learning another language, when I don't truly understand the grammar. Well, let's come up with some exercises.
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting. Can I ask a question too?
Sure.
What if I want to say not till now, but till yesterday? For example, till yesterday, I've never listened to myself in the recording. Should can I use present perfect, or should I use past perfect, or I just can't use this structure with till yesterday?
You're talking to somebody who's a bit of a creative writer. Let me think. I hadn't eaten sushi until yesterday.
Oh, past perfect, yeah?
Yeah, so look, if we just keep it simple, I hadn't eaten sushi, now we're going to put a time qualifier in there, until yesterday, right? Let's see, something else. I haven't eaten sushi. I hadn't. I didn't like rap music until I heard DJ Jazzy Jeff. Okay.
So it just past simple.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. But keep in mind, part of it, when we're writing, okay, this is a grammar class, right? But when we're writing, you write based on what sounds the best or conveys the best meaning. You're not thinking, like in your own language, when you're writing, are you thinking, I don't know, should I write using the present perfect here or the simple present or the past? What should I use? No, you're thinking of what is the best way to say something. Right? So in grammar, yes, I'll teach you the proper way to use the present perfect or the present perfect simple. But when we're writing, why are we writing? Well, we're writing about something, right? We have a purpose. It needs to be clear, concise, and what's the other? Concise and what? Coherent. Right? We must understand it. So when you're writing, you want to, now if you're writing, see, this is almost an academic conversation. If you're writing for school and it's about the present perfect, you have to write in the present perfect. But if you're writing an essay in English, it's about compare and contrast, or it's an argumentative paper. And it's about being clear. What is your thesis? Being concise, not long-winded, and coherent. It makes sense. Okay, so always focus on the long run. Okay, so let's look at a couple of exercises. And I wish I'd have brought some water down here because my throat's going coarse. Raphael.
Yes, I'm.
You know how I don't teach a lot of grammar classes? Do you know why?
No.
My throat gets sore because I do all the talking.
Yeah, I see.
Okay, so here's a sentence here. Well, let me put it in the Google Drive. So my first one here, let's make it a little larger, change the color. Oh, they won't let me change the color. Come on, guys. Let me change the color. No, they won't let me change the color. All right. So we have this sentence here. Dimitri, put that in the present perfect, please.
Bob has visited his grandma.
Bob has visited his grandma. Okay. So again, we're talking about things that have just completed an action, right? So Bob has visited his grandma. What do you guys think? Good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. Okay, next sentence. I'm wondering if I just should say this out loud and have you guys write them down. It might be better. Okay, so I got 3 words. Well, not 3 words. I've got 3 pieces here. Jimmy, play on the computer. Giacomo, present
Yes.
perfect, please.
Jimmy has played on the computer.
Jimmy has played on the computer. What do you guys think?
Well, I think it
All
doesn't
right.
make so much sense.
It doesn't make much sense?
I mean, yes, it does, but it's just like it lacks something, like when.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. Like, these are very simple sentences. I would never talk this way unless I'm talking to my son, right? I honestly, I would never speak like that. I would say something like this. So it's Raphael has finished working on his computer. That's what I would say. Or Raphael's working on his computer if he's still doing it. I wouldn't say played on his computer. Most people don't play on their computer. If they're playing video games, you'll say that. Or you might say playing with his computer or has finished playing with his computer. But yeah, you're right. I wouldn't talk that way either. All right, let's see. Who is next? Joseph. I'm going to make it a little more difficult for you. I'm going to say it out loud, your choices, and then I want you to put it into the present perfect simple. Okay? Sue and Walter wash their car. Sue and Walter wash their car.
Present perfect.
Yes, please, sir.
Sue and Walter have washed their car.
Very good. Excellent. Sue and Walter have washed their car. All right, Raphael, you're up next, sir. Andrew, repair his car. Andrew, repair his car.
Andrew has repaired his car.
Yeah, Andrew has repaired his car. Okay. And Julie, for you, your sentence is Phil help Anna with, sorry, I'm speaking too slow. Phil help Anna with maths.
Phil has helped Anna with math.
Yeah, very good. Right, so you guys seem to be getting the hang of this. So these are all examples of the present perfect simple. Now, I've got many more examples, but I don't want to spend time on that. I want to go to the negative now, okay? So an example is, here's an example of a sentence. Sarah is a subject, not wash the dishes. So how would we put that into the negative? Sarah has washed the dishes would be the present positive. If we want to put it into the negative, it would be Sarah has not washed the dishes. Okay, so Dimitri, you'll be first, and your sentence, well, I shouldn't say your sentence, your pieces of the sentence are this. Not Anita clear the kitchen. Sorry, not Anita clean the kitchen.
Anita hasn't cleaned the kitchen.
Excellent. Anita hasn't or has not cleaned the kitchen. Very good. All right. Next is Giacomo. Giacomo. Here are your sentence fragments. Water the plants, not Maureen and Gavin. Water the plants, not Maureen and Gavin.
Maureen and Gavin have not watered the plants.
Excellent. Well done. All right. Joseph, your sentence fragments. Make his bed, not Joey. Okay, I'll repeat that. Not a problem. Make his bed, not Joey.
Joey hasn't made his bed.
Very good. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the negative. Can anybody tell me when we should use contractions, or better still, when we shouldn't use contractions?
In a written language, maybe?
Okay, in the written, close, but not
Formal, written.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. You're writing presentations, reports for either academic purposes or for your company. Contractions are still seen as casual speaking. I can go up and I can present a very formal document to a committee, and I can still use contractions in my speech. But there better not be any contractions in the presentation. Okay? Formal writing always has its rules, and contractions should never be used in formal writing. When we speak, the same rules do not apply. So we can use contractions when we're speaking formally. We might even use sentence fragments when we're speaking formally. People generally aren't criticizing your grammar when you're speaking because, well, it's difficult. Look at when we write. When we write, we have a lot of words that we pour out in sentences, and we go back and we look at all the mistakes. We have to redo it. We can't do that when we're speaking. All right, Raphael, here's your sentence. Not Jane and Ben tidy up their rooms. Not Jane and Ben tidy up their rooms.
Could you repeat, please?
Not Jane and Ben tidied up their rooms.
Jane and Ben haven't tidied up their room.
Yeah, excellent. Jane and Ben have not tidied up their rooms.
Tidy.
Right. Tidied.
Tidied. Okay, tidied.
T-I-D-I-E-D.
I haven't recognized the word.
That's okay. All right, Julie, here's your your sentence fragments. Here we go. Feed the hamster, Alex. Not. Feed the hamster, Alex. Not.
Alex has not fed the hamster.
Brilliant. Okay, now I tried to trick each and every one of you. I moved the fragments around so they weren't in their proper order. We were using irregular verbs sometimes. You guys got them perfect every time. So well done. So when we started at the beginning of class, we looked at the present, the negative, and what's the one other thing we looked at? What types of sentences? We looked at the positive, the negative, and what else?
Questions.
Yeah. So let's go over that quickly. I think you guys are going to do really well, but let's find out. Wait a minute. No, maybe I can do something different first. Yeah. Okay, so I want to focus on sentences with never. So again, dealing with the present perfect, simple. Let's focus on sentences with the negatives. And maybe we'll just do a few of these. All right, Dimitri, your sentence fragments include Julie, never a whale see. Julie, never a whale see.
I've never seen a whale.
Well, that's good. That's a good sentence, but that was actually for Dimitri.
Well done,
Oh,
Julie.
Julie,
But well done.
Julie, I just thought you addressing to me because Julie, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I like to use student names in my examples to help make it more personal. It keeps you guys on your toes as well. All right, Dimitri. But yes, you got it right, other than you changed the subject from Julie, the proper noun, to I, pronoun. All right, Dimitri. This is your sentence, Dimitri, or your sentence fragments. Okay. Raphael, Canada, never be. Raphael, Canada, never be.
Raphael has never been to Canada.
Excellent. Raphael, have you been to Canada? Canada?
No, no, not yet.
Come on, give me a proper sentence.
I haven't been to Canada yet.
Excellent. All right. Giacomo,
Yes.
around England, cycle, never. Lisa and Holly, around England, cycle, never. Lisa and Holly.
Lisa and Holly have never cycled around England.
Excellent. That's amazing. You guys are doing well. Did you hear about the guys that actually sailed, or not sailed, that rowed around England?
No.
2 men in one raft rowed around England non-stop.
Ah.
That has to be the world's most horrible experience. Other than spending a winter in Antarctica. I couldn't imagine. For those of you who don't know, England is not a tropical paradise. It rains a lot. It can be cold and damp. And the very northern part where Scotland is gets close to the Arctic Circle. So not a very pleasant experience. All right, Joseph. Mickey Mouse. Giacomo, never meet. Mickey Mouse, Giacomo, never meet.
Giacomo has never met Mickey Mouse.
Has never met Mickey Mouse. Okay, good. All right, Raphael.
Yes.
Okay, a Ferrari. Never. Drive. Dimitri.
Dimitri has never driven a Ferrari.
Dimitri has never driven a Ferrari. Dimitri, have you driven a Ferrari?
I hope so. It will be soon.
I haven't driven a Ferrari, but yeah, you know what? They're fun cars. They break, but they're fun cars. All right, very good, guys. All right, now I'll take you to the questions. Now, you guys were a little unsure at the beginning of class, but you know what? Every example I've given you, you've nailed it. I do want to do a bit more review, though. Let's go back and let's review what we're doing here. So the present perfect is a grammatical combination of the present tense and the perfect aspect. It is used to express a past event that has present circumstances. The term is used particularly in context of English grammar where it refers to forms such as I have left or Raphael has driven. Okay? It does put an emphasis on the result, and when I talked about 5 different examples of it, the first one was putting an emphasis on the result. We've gone through many examples here. You've gotten them all right, even though I've tried to trick you.
Simon, I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yes, you can, and you already did. Would you like to ask another question?
Yes, another.
Okay.
If I say I left the room, and I say I have left the room, what's the difference? I don't understand.
Well, you don't have in there anymore. Okay. No, I'm not trying to be difficult. So, I left the room. I have left the... That I left caps lock on. I didn't mean to. These sentences are identical with have. I left the room. I have left the room. The result is the same. I am no longer in that room. It's in the past. Okay? Your meaning is identical. Now, if I was writing, I would just choose I left the room.
So both are correct?
Both are grammatically correct. But what is the difference in the construction?
Present perfect and past.
Yeah.
But don't you have to specify the time period? I left the room yesterday. I left the room 3 minutes ago, or no?
Okay, Dad, stop getting on my case. I left 2 hours ago. Does that make sense? You're right. If you say a time duration, you're providing more information. So let's say, I told, so I'm talking to my parents, yeah, I left my room, or I left work. Or better still, today's an example. My wife says, huh, what are you doing home? I left work. Yes, but it's 2 o'clock. Oh, I left work early because there was a fire and they sent us home. Okay? It's the detail. I left the room is a complete sentence. It's got everything a sentence needs. I left the room a few minutes ago. Well, tells us more. I left the room yesterday because, and you give a reason. Now you're saying why you left the room. Okay? Here, I left the room. I told you what. I haven't told you why or when or how. Right? Very simple sentence. It all goes back to what I said earlier. What are you trying to convey when you're writing? Okay? There's more than one way to say things in English, using different types of tenses to convey a message, but there's also many different words. So I'm sorry, I'm going to deviate a little bit, but I think it's important. So I'm going to go back to Google Drive. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to be writing in green again. No, it's purple this time. I hate purple. All right. Oh, no, it's black. Awesome. I have left the room. Let's focus on the word left. I left the room. Let's focus on the word left. Give me another word to say I left the room. Or another couple of words.
I went out of the room.
I went out of. Room. Nobody ever would say that. But you could. It's grammatically correct.
I got out of the room.
I got out of the room. How about this? I walked out of the room.
Walked?
I abandoned the room.
I abandoned. I love that. I abandoned. That's not how we spell thrown. Room. You see what I'm saying? Now, sometimes I'm changing the grammar a little bit, but there's more than one way to say the exact same thing. If I was thrown out of the room, I left the room. I departed the room. I went out of the room. I got out of the room. I walked out of the room. I disappeared out of the room. Each one says it in a different way. In a way, that's what I like about English. You have many options. What makes it very complex in learning is that there's so many rules and so many exceptions. It's kind of like a product that you buy that's very complicated. Once you get used to it, you find it's very useful, but when you're first learning to use it, it's frustrating. Okay?
May I ask one more question?
Sure.
The following example I made in a test, and I still don't know the right answer. And maybe it's not correct from the point of view of native speaker, but it was like that.
Could you
We
write it
needed,
for me? Because I don't, I'm
yeah,
hearing a bit of an echo, and what that does is it makes it hard for me. I might hear steel instead of still kind of thing. So if you want to just write it at the bottom of the class notes here, and then I can help you.
uh, um, choosing right tense, uh, uh, and it was something like that. I typed it.
The sales department was closed for yeah, the sales department was closed for 3 days this month. Yeah.
Was closed. Yeah.
The sales department was closed for 3 days this month. That indicates that it's happened, it's in the past.
So,
If you say the sales department has been closed for 3 days this month, what does that imply?
yeah, I was thinking about was closed too. I thought about it because if we say just the sales department has been closed for 3 days without this month, it
Mhm.
implies that it was closed today, yesterday, and the day before yesterday. Is it correct?
It doesn't necessarily imply that. So the sales department has been closed for 3 days this month. If somebody says that, well, it could be the last 3 days. It certainly sounds like it's leading up to the present. But you don't know for sure. It's not clear.
So if we say was closed for 3 days this month, it probably can be that it was closed today, uh, a week ago one day, and maybe one day 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be in the past leading up to the present. Now, what do we call that? Talking about something that happened in the past and continues up to the present.
Um, so present perfect.
Present continuous?
Oh my gosh, present continuous. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I.
But
Yeah.
let me warn you, okay? So again, there's the academic aspect of this where if we look at the structure and the grammar, it tells us the meaning. However, when we talk to people, it doesn't mean that at all. So if a person says, yes, we were closed for 3 days this month, you know that sometime during this month of August up to today, we were closed. Most likely it wasn't today, it was in the past. We
Oh,
have been closed for 3 days. If I say that, well, it should be that we are closed today and that it was the day before and the day before that. But it's not clear. So if Raphael says we have been closed for 3 days, you might
oh,
want to ask that person, what do you mean today, yesterday, and the day before? He says, no, Monday. What is today? What is today? Today's Tuesday. So for me, it's Tuesday. No, we were closed Saturday, Sunday, and today. Okay? People
so
don't always speak grammatically correct. Sometimes, if it's not clear, you need to quantify that.
but actually you can use both variants, right? Or none of them.
No, so you can use both. The sales department was closed for 3 days, or the sales department has been closed for 3 days. Both work. If I say the sales department was closed for 3 days, we don't know which 3 days. It could be any 3 days of the month. If I say the sales department has been closed for 3 days, that leads that it was in the past leading up to the present.
Oh yeah, I understand. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. But again, that's the academic part. Remember, when you're talking to native English speakers, if it sounds like what they're saying isn't exactly right, qualify, ask them more. Marketing people are like that. 99.9% pure. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, yeah.
Grammatically, that doesn't mean anything. Grammatically, That's, well, what's wrong with that, Raphael? 99% pure.
It's not 100%.
It's either pure or it's not. Okay? It tastes refreshing. What's wrong with that, Joseph? What is refreshing? How do you know what refreshing tastes? Right? We like to be creative, and we like to exaggerate sometimes. So when you're learning to speak with native English speakers, remember, yes, this is the grammatical correct way of saying something, but ask yourself, is that really what they're trying to say? All right, so always be careful. All right, we've only got 4 minutes left. We don't really have time to get into the questions. Let me ask you guys, what other grammar lessons would you like me to teach in the future?
Maybe about present perfect continuous.
That's my favorite.
Yes, I agree.
Past perfect.
And past perfect?
Yeah.
I think I have a lot of lessons on those. Let me just take a quick look.
Past
Present
perfect
progressive.
continuous now.
Yeah, I've got the present progressive here. Let's see. I love conditional clauses. Does anybody love conditional clauses?
No, but
No,
you have
okay.
to.
Sorry. All right, so I've got the present continuous ready to go, the present progressive for future, and the simple present for future. All right, so I guess I'll make up another one to cover that one. So yeah, I will do a present perfect continuous and the past perfect.
Oh, thank you.
So keep an eye on my schedule. I'll add more now. This week I'm not teaching a lot of classes. I don't know what happened, but they forgot to give me classes this week. So, oh well, it happens. I do think I have one more, and I might teach one on Saturday too. But I'm glad to see some fresh faces in my class. I know that some of you are new, Julie, so I want to give you a link. Let's see here. So when you guys find teachers that you like and that you want to learn from, use this link. Now, so it's verbling.com/teachers/Simon would be for me. And on that page, you can see the next 6 classes that I'm teaching. The good news is it also shows you the date and time for your local time. Because if you guys ask me when is my next class, I can't tell you. I can't tell you accurately anyhow. I can say it's Wednesday or Thursday, but for Julie, that's Thursday or Friday. So always go to this page, and it'll show you the next 6 classes of any teacher in your local date and your local time. All right, so I better write these down so I don't forget to have these 2 grammar classes. I kind of miss grammar too. I love grammar, kind of. I didn't when I was younger, but as I'm getting older, I'm beginning to like it more. All right, do you guys have any other questions for me? As we've only got about a minute left. All right, I want to say welcome to Dimitri and Giacomo and Julie. You guys I've never taught with before, and thank you for coming to class, and thank you for participating. That makes it so much more worthwhile. I'm usually here between the hours of, well, when this class started up to 2 or 3 hours from now. And sometimes I teach on weekends. Classes I love to teach are classes where you guys get to do most of the conversation. I focus on pronunciation as well. And of course, I'm bringing back grammar. So I want to thank each of you for coming out tonight and choosing me as your teacher. If you guys have any questions regarding this material or other classes you want to see, send me a message from my teacher page. It doesn't cost anything. and I'll respond to you within 24 hours. Thank you so much for coming tonight, guys. It's good having
Thank
you.
you. Bye, Simon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye,
Thank you for
guys.
tuning in.
See you. Goodbye.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.